Hello everyone and welcome back to the pYanodons playthrough. It's your ghostified gamer and I'm surrounded by machines as usual. That means this is the project we're going to be working on today. But first I gotta show you, oh man, I got so much stuff I did off screen and it's awesome. Alright, get ready. Here we go. We have an AUG render build. Now this is something that we did already for the animal sample for the logistics science. And so, because we needed all the materials to, solidify them in that little container. So this is something we've done already. Now it is an outpostable item, and the focus more is on the bones here. So that's awesome. And with the Ulrichs, I think, you know what? I don't know if I went over it last time. The Ulrichs here. I think here they are, the pink ones. I don't know if I went over this, but I switched this to LTN now, and the bone marrow is on LTN as an item, it's providing it, and then I switched this to pick up the garbage, the other stuff. And the Ulrichs don't produce bones, which is unfortunate, but bone marrow, we'll take it. I'll take it. It's just another creature we have to spin up, and it's fun. I got the blood, on LTN as well. This was on, I did a point-to-point train on this, and I just couldn't, I can't tie up a train for this, and we have the body parts, sorting area, so I wanted to get that on LTN, because that's already on there. Now we have this thing, so the focus here for the AUGs is bones. As we go, there is a little trend that I'm seeing here, and what's going to happen is, well, when we need a specific body part, what I'm going to be doing is setting up these renders like this. The general stuff, like, it seems like lard, well, we get lard, brains, and sometimes skin, and guts. We're always getting brains and guts from every animal. And the lard is another common one. The skin is off and on, but we're getting more skin now because the AUG rendering here, and also this, I think this produces skin as well. Yeah, we get skin out of here now. And so that's great. We need the skin. And also, if I want to do those, I think it's horizontal wind power, that takes the skin, so that'd be kind of nice to have. And now, all these animal renderings are producing these common items. And that I'm going to have in a dumping ground. But what I'm going to do, I have to figure out how I'm going to handle that going forward, because I might have to use TSM for the pickups on those, just like I am with the what do you call it? The stone, sand, and all that, the garbage trains, the waste. Because I have to fake out LTN to think there's always a request. And that doesn't always, I don't want that, I don't like to have permanent requests out there. I like to have it more clean, so TSM is perfect for picking up garbage. So the garbage trains I'm probably going to switch that over once I get to that point. But right now, LTN is handling the garbage for the animal waste. Now, let's get back to this thing here. Helmod is being a real idiot. I don't know what's going on, but for some reason, it's not resolving the paddocks and the food. It was telling me I only needed one food machine and 10 or so. I think it was like 10 of the Relasias. For some reason, it's not pulling these into the equation. And I got Matrix Solver on. It knows that how many AUGs I'm producing because it told me I need, just over 9 slaughterhouses. So I don't know what's going on. But we have bones, and we're going to need these for the fish, and fish is where it's at. We're going to be doing a big fish build where it's just fish, and we're going to train fish around. It's going to be awesome. Okay, now, so that's one thing there. Okay, rail, I'm kind of jumping around. I got my little list here. I extended the rail here because we're going to have some things we're going to be pulling over here eventually, not right now. But the first project, and I forgot about this project, was nickel ore. So I went ahead and did nickel. Now, I didn't want to do this on screen because it's not really that out of the out of the ordinary. There is a couple little different nuances, though, as I was building this. I'm like, oh, crap. So we're jaw crushing the nickel ore, and we're getting stone in grade 1. And then we're screening it, and we're getting grade 3 rejects and gravel, and grade 2, which is very odd. So we're getting 4 things out of this. You can see them there. The grade 3, the grade 2, the rejects, and the gravel. And so I got the stone coming down, going here. I could probably, well, I brought these down because this is here. And so the gravel is coming down this way, and then I'm splitting off the grade 2 up here. This one here takes the grade 2 and makes it in a grade 1. So I have to pull that back here. It also, I think this one produces, wait, I think it does sand as well. Yeah, because sand is going this way here. Yeah, I think so. So we got sand coming down. So I'm combining the gravel with the sand, and then we got their trash train here. The grade 2 gets turned into grade 1, and I think and sand, and we're processing over here. I'm doing a little priority here so that we process this first, because, you know, we can get this all day, and we don't want to back this up here. If we back this up, then this won't work here, potentially. So I decided to do it that way. And then we got our rejects go here, and that kicks out, I think it goes this way, and that's grade 1. Was that grade 2? Oh, that's grade 1 as well. Yeah, so we have grade 1 coming out of this one, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. The grade 3 is what we're after, and we ball mill that and make it into dust. I did an oxygen furnace here just because it was simple with the water and stuff. And borax. We need oxygen furnace, obviously, borax and fuel, and we're good to go. I was able to, what I did is I pushed this rail up so I can get the stone train, or the garbage train in here, and then the ash train over here, which is all good. And then we got our usual sand casting, borax, and fuel, which is, you know, from our, you know, fuel depot there, you know, basically everything that's carbon-based and burnable. And then we've got our stop, and I was able to make it nice and neat, because I pushed this back further. And this thing, you know, eventually we're going to get better recipes, so all this crap's going to come out. You know, we're going to redo it all. What I could have done was push this back a little more, and, you know, got this further back. But, you know, 6.5 does the other. It works, and that's all that matters. Okay, there's the nickel redo. And now I have an official nickel outpost now with syngas and nickel trains there. And then I just kind of pulled the rail down, you know, and curved it. It's fine. I can always, you know, things are going to change eventually or whatever, and, you know, I might move it around. I don't know. We'll see. Probably not. Okay, so that's done. The nickel plate. And I forgot about that. I was like, oh, we got a new recipe for that. Let me go ahead and do that. And like I said, it's not different than anything we've already done. Another thing I did off screen, map view, which I forgot about. Now, we've done this before as well. It's the moss gene sample. This is done. Basically, it's just bring moss and petri dishes in, and boom, it's done. This thing is really hungry for moss. It's 20 per craft, but it's only 2 petri dishes a craft. And I've got some arithmetic combinators here to handle that. Now, that brings me to my LTN beef, and I think I finally figured out if LTN did this one thing, it would be the only train controller I think you would need, in my opinion. You wouldn't need TSM for big projects, because that's why I'm using LTN, is for the small little bits, because we can meter it, whereas TSM is kind of tricky. You know, you can do it with TSM, but you have to shut off inputs based on your combinator output at your loading. So yeah, you can do metering with TSM, but LTN does it, I think, much smoother. I like LTN for its simplicity. But here's my beef with LTN, and I think that I say it's my beef, but I mean that in a funny way. And the mod dev did a great job on LTN, and the guy who did LTN Combinator did a great job. I mean, it's amazing. But one of the things I'd like to see, if anything, I would love to take the LTN Combinator. If I could mod, if I knew Lua, I would try to do it myself. But the LTN Combinator, I would add to that functionality where you could have the LTN combinator functionality as it is, or have maybe another combinator added to the mix. And what I would want to do is take these two signals here and tie them to an item, and maybe use these slots down here. So when you set the MOS to 1,000 in this example, then it would say, hey, what do you want your threshold? Do you want to, and this should be request item threshold, not item request threshold. This is request stack. Now, I don't know why they didn't do it, but it should be item threshold. But what I would like to have is MOS 1,000. What's your what threshold do you want? Do you want request? And you would put the icon here instead of this being here. Now, if you look at this, I copied and pasted the LTN combinator over to a constant combinator, and this is kind of what I want. Oh, shoot. Let me copy paste that back over there. Okay, we'll get rid of that one. What I would want to do is have this. You could do this here. Let's say 2. This would be 50, for example, right? And then I would change this to -100. And what would happen is, and I would want this in either this functionality either in a combinator or whatever, but I think you'd have to use the LTN combinator here. I would have the MOS here that I want in the box or in the case, and this would be my either stack and or request item or stack threshold. And these two would be tied together, and so this would be gone and utilized down here. And I don't mind limiting the slots to 7, although it would be kind of nice to have the same amount of items per, combinator like we have now. I think it's 14. So we'd have, increase the amount of slots and then have item and threshold, whatever threshold you want here. And that would be, I think, would be perfect. That would make LTN the one-stop shop, I think, for controllers. So what I'm doing here is I'm simulating with a constant combinator a case, and the case has 800 MOS and 20 petri dishes. Here, this one's just a pass-through. It's multiplying the MOS by 1 and passing it through that number. So basically, it's 800 in, 800 out. In this case, I'm multiplying the petri dish by 10 to fake out the amount that's in here. So the output signal, it's subtracting from the actual signal here, and that's how LTN knows to call. And what's happening here is if you mouse over the arithmetic combinator, you see it's 200. In this scenario right here, a train would be called. Now, it's not flawless, it's not perfect, because what happens is once the train is called, it's going to say, oh, I need 1,000. Now, you have to have your train limit at 1, or else this won't work. It will call 2 trains of petri dishes at whatever amount is needed to fulfill that request. And our petri dishes here, in this case, we are offering 500 to the network times 4. So we have 500, 500, 500, 500. Because we have only one train set on that combinator, what happens is LTN deploys a train at 500 because that's the maximum it can do. That's it. Now, if I had that set to 200, what would happen is it would send two trains. It would send 2 trains and it would grab 1,000, which is what I'm trying to avoid. What happens, in a sense, what has happened with this scenario is that I've halved the amount that train or that LTN would normally try to fulfill. It would normally try to get 1,000 based even with the combinator being set to 200, which defeats the purpose, right? I'm like, no, I don't want 1,000. I want less than that. And so what happens now is when this threshold hits, when the petri dishes go to 20, it's calling 500, and I'm okay with that because, well, at least it's not 1,000, right? I've halved that, and I call this scenario when you're calling too much and you don't need all that material. It's a shock to the system because we're only going to build to so much. We're not going to build this crazy amount. Now, and what happens is it robs from other processes potentially, because when this train runs, there's like 2 or 3 other things that need petri dishes, and now I have 500 less petri dishes when I only really, needed 200. So it's 300 potentially petri dishes I could have on hand, and that's kind of what I'm trying to avoid here. Okay, that's the LTN kind of diatribe that I had there. All right, let's talk about this creature stuff, which we're going to be doing in probably the next episode if I don't think of anything else. I have beat my head over the last 2 days on this stuff here. I've come to the realization with my analysis that these, what do you call them, Ziphos, they're not the best use for the arthropod blood, which I didn't realize it's arthropod, named after Arthur. King Arthur, who's one of the mod devs. And this thing here, you're breeding. It kicks out, it needs 2 Ziphos for 3 larvae. And I was like, okay, that's cool. But then I looked at this thing in more detail, and I go, wait a minute. I have an 80% chance to get a Ziphos out. That means that I have to have a lot of breeding to get the larva, and in the event that this fails, because usually what you do is you have 2 breed, right? You have male, female, whatever, and they breed, and then you get like 7 or 8 out. Sometimes you get an equal amount, like it's a failure, like no, you get no pups or whatever. But chances are the recipes have been 2, male, female. You get the whatever, 7, 8 pups, right? And then, it spins up quick, or it spins up as fast as how many pups you get, or, offspring, right? So this process really kind of sucks. Now, I want to do it. I'm definitely going to hook this up because I want to see these machines working. They look pretty cool. But I don't really think that I want to rely on this one, because I just have a sinking feeling that it's going to eventually starve out, and I'm going to have to come over here and manage it. Now, there is a recipe later on, this one right here, but it's locked behind some nasty tech. We have to get through a lot of tech in order to get it. And there is a lot of, it's all this crazy engineered stuff, really cool stuff to make one of these. You're engineering this from, like in a DNA, literally grown brain, in vitro meat, biometric skin, all this stuff just to get this thing, which is pretty cool though. I mean, I would love to, I want to hook this up, but I'm not going to focus on this one here because of the fact that the 80% return, and you don't get much. You get 3 larvae, and it's not enough to get at least 2 back. At least give me my 2 back. If it's a fail thing, I get it. I moved on to my analysis to the archwids, and I know there's a lot of complaints with archwids, and let me tell you, I'm in the camp of archwids being a real pain in the butt. I really don't. I mean, other than just, putting a feather in your cap with these, I really don't see the point of doing archwids at all. Because, I mean, it's a cool factor. I do want to do these, but as far as a production, it's not, I just can't see the point of going through all these hoops to get absolutely no gain out of it, It's like driving 2,000 miles to maybe have a chance to get a penny. Like, okay, why would I do that, And if you look at this recipe here, it's pretty straightforward. Now, the complaint is you may lose your queen on this. A 99.9 is real slim, obviously, but there is a chance you're going to lose your queen. And you get 15 archwid eggs out of it at least, so that's a good thing. That's fine. And so it's using archwid honey and natural gas. So what they're calling this is a hydrocarbon plant. So the bees are, taking the hydrocarbons and, we're using them to make bees. So we have all these things here. Now, I didn't go any further than just looking at this and going, no, I'm not going to do this. The first ingredient here, you have a 1% chance to get a queen out of this mess. You have to use honey barrels, you have to use natural gas, and an archwid nest. An archwid nest requires a vrauc. In fact, 2 of them if you want to do this recipe right here. This one is not as good, so you might as well do this one. I think this one is 1 arcwood nest. Yeah. This one is 2 arcwood nests, but you get more arcwoods out of it and all that good stuff. So you would want to use this one, you know, might as well. Now, an arcwood nest is a vrauk, which is right here. Arcwood nest. You need arcwood honey, vrauk food, arcwood maggots, and empty comb and a vrauk. You need 2 of these nests for this. So what's happening is these bees are, you know, I guess putting them into the vrauk, and then they hatch, and then they eat the vrauk. I guess the vrauk doesn't know what's going on, and it just dies. But the food is the vrauk, I guess. And it says here, if you mouse over this, it says on the bottom, pathogenic method of reproduction. So they're pathogens, basically. I would think they're more parasitic, but that's kind of interesting. Or maybe it's because of the larva, and they hatch and they turn to maggots and eat. It's pathogenic, you know, so maybe that's what it is. Like a cancer, I guess. You need a vrauk build to do the bees, along with the bee build, you know, the arcwood build. Then you get into this thing, which I think you seed these arcwood, these empty honeycombs. You have to make these, and you get the empty honeycombs, and they're kind of like barrels. So you fill them, and they get depleted, and you fill them up again. This is the filling process. You need another creature, meaning the Ulrich. And you read on the bottom, it says filled with delicious corpse honey. So these bees are eating, you have to liquefy the Ulrich into honey, I guess. I guess it's tasty. And then you have to use the maggots on a vrauk, and then you get your arcwoods out. Now, this one here is a filled comb. The comb, I think, is like, there's a recipe for it. I don't have it here, but I looked at it. I can't remember what it is exactly. But here you need crude oil. So there's, more petroleum products, native flora, empty comb, and sap, and then you get your filled combs. That's how you fill them, and then you have to make these combs, and it's another one of those barrel things. So this is a really involved process, and the 1% thing is kind of what people are not happy with, and the fact that you also, it not only is it 1% chance, but you may lose your queen here too. So it's like, oh, screw you. But I would like to try that out. So luckily we have something we can depend on, which is our zippers. And we need these. This is a win-win here, I think. That's why I had to spend all this time looking at these things and determining which one's going to be the best one to get our organic solvent, because we need this for our rubber and latex and all that crap, and stuff. Here is where we need the fish. And what the win-win here is we need zipper eggs for the pyscience too. And also, the zipper is going to be for our arthropod blood, which we need for our organic solvent. All right, so here we have the ability to get our zipper back. We put 3 in, we get 3 out. The yield on it might be 3, which we need to create. Well, actually, yeah, we get the zipper out. So it's a 3 to 3. But I'm not sure. Yeah, I think, yeah, we get the zipper out, so we can continue. That's where we, kind of put it in a case and cycle it back through. And then we get 3 eggs or 3 to 5 eggs. That's great. Now, I would make, we have to have 2 builds of this, though. We have to have 1 for the eggs for pyscience 2 and 1 for the rendering for the arthropod blood. Now, we look at this little guy here. And there's another bonus that we're going to get out of this. So we need basic substrate, which I posted already. The zipper eggs, which we get from our breeding. So it's a 1-to-1, so to speak. I don't know what the timing is. I have to look at it. Now, here is the problem, though. Well, we need fish, as you can see. It's an 80% chance to get a zipper that we can render for the arthropod blood. Now, it's not great, but it's not bad either. You know what I mean? I'd rather take an 80% chance where we could keep it running, and then we have an 80% chance to get them all the time, and then we can kind of gauge. We can depend on it more now, which is the whole point. Now the bonus here is wastewater, and all these things. Or this one produces wastewater here. Our little xyphos. But wastewater, boom, gives us urea. And that's what I want to do with our fish too. We're gonna make urea. We're gonna prioritize the 2 yards over our og urea build, and so we want to deplete this stuff here. And when it's depleted, then it would revert to our og build. So we can do priorities very easily with our LTN network, which is great. And that's the bonus right there. And then initially, we're gonna have to make some methanol here with our filtration media to spin the. I think it's. Oh no, we don't need it. We need it for this process here. We needed methanol for this, but we can make methanol and use that for something. I don't know what yet. I think it's used for other stuff, not necessarily fuel, but we can use it for other things. So we'll stockpile some methanol while we're at it too. Okay, so that does that. Oh my God, there's so much to talk about. This is for a reminder for me to do the MK2 fish. Now, what we're gonna do here, we're gonna do is 3 speed up videos back to back. So keep an eye out for when they switch over. We're gonna do microfiber separate. We're gonna do activated carbon separate. And then we're going to do the filtration media separate. Reason for that is I want the microfiber on the LTN network to be offered, because if we're not running science and stuff, I want to be able to pull from this for building. Same thing with the activated carbon. There might be some other things. And also, if we have a build that's separate from, the filtration media, we can pull the activated carbon out. We can bring it to our moly or niobium plate. So that's the whole point of why I want to do a potential separate builds if it's struggling. Same thing with this. Then I can punch 2 down and have 2 LTN networks ready to go with this stuff. Granted, we can feed them all, And then the filtration media we're going to have on the network for our other processes, the molybdenum and fish and all that good stuff. So we got to have that available. And I'm going to do a nitrogen build on site. It only needs 1 for, I think, this process here. We only need 1 of these. And I might try to train up the oxygen in this case, and the purified nitrogen that comes out of here. I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do with that too. I might do something with that, make it into nitrogen. I think you could do that. But anyway, we're going to use guts for the this stuff here, the hydrogen chloride. We're going to use the guts. But if I need to make a hydrogen chloride build, I will to offset this. But we have so many guts, I'm just burning them up right now. And, we have plenty on hand to, I think, handle this process here. And then, the other thing is I'm going to bring sand in from our garbage locations and gravel as well. But I'm going to prioritize sand for our purified sand. And then I'm going to use the gravel to sand thing and then bring stone in as a backup, stopgap measure. So we're going to do that. All right, let's get to work. It's too much talking, not enough working. Alrighty. Wow, this was quite an interesting area to build in. I decided to do... I like to try new things and, you know, see what works, what doesn't. I figured that this build was... all these things together were small enough to put in one area. And what I did is I prepped this before I started recording the speed up part, but I put a T in here and joined it with another T. And then went around, and I've got 4, you know, little small areas here that are doing the, oh my god, this stuff here, the hydrogen chloride. I got 52,000 so far. I mean, this thing is run, I think. Let's see, yeah, this thing is running 400 activated carbon. Well, let's go over here first. There's not much time, so I gotta hurry up. But yeah, the guts ran out pretty quick. But we've got, you know, a decent amount of hydrogen chloride from that. So basically, there are no guts at all, and any guts that get collected will come over here and just get turned into this until this lamp goes off. I'm requesting, whoops, 2,000 guts. God, that thing is loud. Now I was thinking that over here, I think it's down here. Yeah, here. Where is that? Hydrogen chloride here, right? This thing? This thing has been running like a champ, I tell you. All the stuff I've been running through. But until I get, until we're running everything all at once, you know, this is going to fail. But here I have this hydrogen and chlorine, which I all you need is a lamp, and 50% chance to get the lamp back. We're doing this at the niobium, and I'm thinking about utilizing this stuff here to get the hydrogen chloride. So I don't know. I don't know if I want to do it here. I could move this. I could skip-a-do this thing over here, put a stop in, or like a little, you know, manufacturing plant for that. Anyway, so that's the thoughts on that one. This one's pretty straightforward. Oh my god, I didn't have the wire hooked up again. So I got 9100 zinc chloride or zinc plate in here. Oh well. Whoops. Oh my god, I'm doing that a lot lately because I'm pulling stuff apart and redoing stuff, and there's so much going on, and then you get sidetracked. So, well, you know, it'll get eaten. Let's see here. Yeah, this is kind of interesting. This is a 2-to-1, and unfortunately my little pipe got in the way, so I have to do mini loaders because I didn't realize it. This is 30 friggin' coal dust, man. That's crazy. And look, I'm running out of coal dust. But it's on the way. Look at that. Here it is. Holy cow. There is plenty of coal dust here. 2,700. Oh boy. Yeah, so there are some things that I'm going to have to address later. Coal dust is one of them because I'm relying on... It's a byproduct at this point. We only have 2 spots for it. This one, see, it's just sitting here waiting. And when I run this thing has to run in order for me to get the coal dust, just like power. Well, power is always running. So, it's only a 30% chance to get the coal dust. And I think I still have it up here. No, I got the biomass up here. Coal dust. Now, there are ways like tailings can get us a pretty good amount. And tailings, I think that's where we're going to have to start using the tailings from our ore processing areas. Here's something. I wouldn't mind getting some acid gas. Raw fiber, but I don't want to use raw fiber for this, although we can. Then these are the 2 we're using right now. Red hot coke we're not doing, but, eventually we might. That gives us coke. Here's tailings to... We got copper and iron, but I don't want... I'd rather not have any byproducts. This rich dust, there's not really much we could do with it. we can make chromite sand out of it, which is kind of nice. But we're not using the chromite sand for anything right now, except chromite, which we use for building only. But the way we get tailings is... I want that way. Yeah. Is the tailings. That's kind of weird. Oh, it's only a 40% chance. This one's better. Yeah. We'll use the evaporator, and then we get a guaranteed tailings dust out of that. And then we make that into coal dust. Yeah, that would be the way. And then the acid gas we can vent, or we can make sulfuric acid, which we're going to need eventually. All right, anyway, so that's something there. I decided to just vent everything. You know, it got tight over here, so I had to make a decision on that. Oh, I got to get rid of this rail. Let's go over here. Let me get rid of this real quick here. All right, I had to get rid of that rail before I forgot, because that looks like crap when it's sitting there. This thing, the microfiber, it's just a slow build. I forgot that this thing produces, as a byproduct, biomass, and I'd like to pull, I don't know, I could do a little train here and capture this carbon dioxide, but I don't know how much we're gonna get here. You know, it's one of those things, is it worth the bother, you know? I could, but I have so much carbon dioxide right now, it's ridiculous. And so we got raw fiber to fiber in a centrifuge, which is kind of interesting. The sodium hydroxide, and I had to use, I forgot that it was putting the biomass on the belt. I'm like, I need a filter inserter, so I went ahead and did that. And then we got the sodium hydroxide and raw fiber, and boom, we got microfiber, baby, on LTN. I had to put a little bypass here. The microfiber was pretty straightforward. The machine, I think it's the pulp mills, these are really slow. So I was able, you could actually support 6 of these, but the amount of, you need a lot of the sodium hydroxide in order to do that, and I didn't want to tax that out. And I just kind of slapped this in. There is so much going on with the filter that I just, you know, I'm like, all right, I got to figure out what's on TSM, what's on LTN, you know. And obviously these two are on because I just built them, but I was going to bring stone in and do the crushing, but I decided against it because there's not much room, because this ended up going pretty far over. And so I was like, all right, well, let me just simplify it. I'll go with gravel and sand from our garbage area, which is up here or down here. Where is it? Here it is. It's getting kind of muddled over here. Yeah, see, look, we got plenty of gravel. In fact, what do we got here? 11,000 in here, and this one's filling up again. And I have this little backup system here. In a sense, I have a kind of a bootstrapped sand build here, and I've never seen any reason to worry about gravel here. If in the event I get into trouble, I can always do a sand and gravel build off to the side, you know, do it somewhere. Just like, you know, we do ore, bring the stone in, make gravel, bring the stone in, make gravel and sand. You know, that way we have a consistent supply of both, because we're in the filtration mode now. This one, look at that. I got 4,500 gravel in here too. So much gravel. And I have this as a backup system to make sand anyway. And like I said, there's plenty of gravel. Yeah, 11,000. 4,100 stone in there. So yeah, anyway, worked out pretty well. I got the counters on here. 400 filtration media. Great filtration module, baby. Finally, we got this thing. And this is the infrastructure that we needed to get this all done, because we needed the hydrogen chloride to get the carbon fiber, activated carbon, I mean, this whole industry here, this is an entire industry of stuff to get this one thing right here, that one little thing. And then, you know, imagine, you know, all the other stuff we have to do. We have to have the fiber build, the kite calcs, and we have the guts we're collecting for this. And then there's yet another build that I'm planning on doing to ensure that we always have this on hand off to the side where the sodium hydroxide is, which kind of is, a part of this and a part of this too. It's crazy. It's crazy. Saline water broke all this out, in Kikealks. Pretty nuts. And, of course, zinc. Just a lot of stuff going on here. It's pretty cool. And I'm standing in the middle of my industry, which is really cool. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed the spin up of this thing and, all the stuff I worked on off screen. Hope you enjoyed that all. I'm really having fun playing this mod. It's going to get tougher and tougher and tougher, but I'm ready for it. I'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.